Mallory knew she shouldn't go in. Time and time again she was advised not to come here. Yet there she was, the cold breeze from the Atlantic on her back, and the ever-growing, pitch-black void of the cavern in front of her. She could feel her knees trembling, and her heart beating loudly inside her chest. But she saw Mara go in. She had to go after her. Their parents had gone to Aunt Lucy's place. Maybe they'll be back soon enough, she thought to herself. But then again, her mother had a habit of stretching a couple of minutes into a couple of hours. She looked at her wrist, her watch lighting up and showing in red numbers, 3:45. She swallowed loudly and placed her gaze once again upon the cavern's entrance. If she was right, she had less than 2 hours to go in and look for her little sister. That's enough time, isn't it? She questioned herself, not entirely sure, but trying for a reassuring tone to soothe her nerves. She readjusted her grip on the lantern and took her first steps towards the inside of the cavern. Mallory thought of the things she would tell her sister, how she would scold her, and how she would probably cry. Every couple of minutes, she would call her sister's name. Mara, where are you? Mara, it's me. But she heard no reply. She stood there for a while, just listening for any indication of her sister, when suddenly Mallory felt dizzy, and everything went dark. Her knees gave out and she fell on her butt. Her heart stilled for a second. She looked down, throat feeling dry all of a sudden. The water level, it came up to her chest. Impossible, she whispered. She looked at her watch and was surprised with what she saw. The number on her watch lit up for a few seconds, reading 4:27. But she had been there no more than 15 minutes. How come all this time had passed? She jumped up to her feet and frantically called for her sister. Mara, we must leave soon. Where are you? But just like before, there was no sound other than the deafening silence. As time passed, it became a struggle to move, the water level now up to her thighs. A myriad of thoughts swarmed her. Darn Mara, she'll pay for this. Where is she? Until all she could think of was, you're dead. Screw Mara. They knew better than to go into the cavern before high tide. She was getting out of there before it was too late. She turned around ready to get out, but instead she just stood there. She couldn't make out in which direction she came from. Mallory tried to retrace her steps, but she walked without looking at her surroundings. Bile crawled up her throat, her eyes in focus. She really was dead, wasn't she? Mallory felt dizzy again, and her vision went black. Coldness engulfed her in an instant. The water level had risen once again, and she hadn't even noted. Now it was up to her neck. She continued moving without a thought in mind, aimlessly. That's when she saw it. Light, just further up ahead. Somehow she had managed to reach the entrance. Elated, she swam as she could towards it, but when she reached the light, Mallory saw it was only a small opening at the top of the far end of the cavern. Only her hand managed to squeeze through. On the other side, the cold air of the afternoon greeted her hand. She was about to pull it back in when another hand grasped hers. Mara? How? When? Oh, silly Mal. You shouldn't be here. You'll have to pay. Her sister cooed at her, yanking her hand away. And all Mallory could do was scream.